Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? Friday night, if you're watching live, you're very welcome. Lots to get into and I think you're going to enjoy this show is what I would say to you. First of all though, let's start off. I did a Twitter Q&A about a couple of hours ago and three of the main questions that I was asked. Who do I think will be Manchester United's next signing? I think it will be Perisic. Who would I prefer out of Fabinho or Matic? Fabinho. And what was the other one? What's the latest with Morata? Apparently it is progressing well, but that's been happening for about 2 or 3 weeks now. Josh Harrop has gone to Preston North End on loan, has he? Or is he actually signed for them? He's signed for them. I said it in the match reaction after the goal he scored against Crystal Palace. I said, what a great goal, but I bet we don't see him play for Manchester United again. And everyone was like, oh, no. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I never thought I'd see him in a Manchester United shirt again. I just think him and a lot of the other young lads who played that game, it was a token gesture by Mourinho in a game that didn't matter to earn a few brownie points, and they won't see a United shirt again. Well, obviously not in the name of Harrop, who probably was the man of the match in that game, wasn't he? So, I mean, we can touch on that a bit later if you want, but I just want to say, we went live at lunchtime about this Matic rumour that personal terms have been agreed. Definite division between those who want him and those who don't want him, like me. But we did it fairly, and I really enjoyed the show. The dislikes don't bother me. I don't give a damn about that, to be honest. It means that people are disagreeing with what I say. That's fine. The United Stand is built on foundations of fan opinion, and I really enjoyed it at lunchtime today because actually we got a load of contrasting information and debate on the live comments and on the show. And I want that tonight. I thought, you know what? It would have been really easy to do a show tonight and gone, Fabinho or Matic, who would you prefer? I mean, what a boring conversation, because I'd just say Fabinho. A few people might say Matic, but the obvious one's Fabinho. Park it. I'd rather generate a little bit of conversation between you lot, get hold of some of that contrasting opinion, and let's talk it through. And the sort of angle I'm going to go with tonight is Jose Mourinho playing with fire, because I believe that these next 2 or 3 weeks will define Mourinho's management career at Manchester United and how long he's here and how successful we are. Remember, I've said that we'll win the title next year because Mourinho wins the title in the first 2 years everywhere he goes. And I still believe that. But look at this situation we find ourselves in. One, I must say that none of this is certain. This could be total paper talk. But if you take it literally, we've obviously signed Lindelof. We appear to be signing Perisic and Morata, and it looks like he wants Matic. If they were the 4 signings this summer, when we know that Aubameyang is available, when we know that Fabinho wants to come to Manchester United, and we know that James Rodriguez wants to come to Manchester United, 3 players there, Fabinho, Rodriguez, Aubameyang, Perisic, Morata, Matic. I mean, come on. It's not even close, is it? You're going to go with Aubameyang, Fabinho and Rodriguez over Perisic, Morata and Matic. But Mourinho may well go with that 3. Is that dangerous? Is that dangerous to his future as a Manchester United manager to sign players that the fans pretty much would prefer other players? Now, obviously, Mourinho gets our backing. He has to have our backing, and he has our backing. But there's a difference between in Jose we trust, and there's a difference between in Jose you're going to get it right. And let's not forget, last August he said categorically, I will make Manchester United fans love Fellaini. Well, you know what? I might have had a little peck with him after the goal in the semi-final, but I haven't fallen in love with him. I've not even progressed to one night stand stage, and I'm certainly not in love with him. I've had a little kiss a couple of times this season, but he's kicked me in the nuts a few times more than that. I'm not in love with Fellaini, and Mourinho told us he would make us fall in love with Fellaini. So, as much as I love Mourinho, it doesn't mean everything he does is right. It doesn't mean everything he does in the future will be right. And is it dangerous, I ask you, is it dangerous if he goes down that route of Morata, Perisic and Matic when we know Fabinho wants to sign, when we know Rodriguez is interested in signing, and we know Aubameyang is free? If it starts to go wrong, I've seen it under Van Gaal, I've seen it under Moyes, I've seen bits of it last year. It won't take much for the doubters to start to turn, and if the football's not good enough, we could look back on this summer and say, well, he got it wrong. He got it so wrong. There were players available better than these lot, and he didn't go for them and he chose those. I think it's brave. I think it's almost touching on brilliant, because if he gets it right, when there's fans divided on the signings, then it just shows Mourinho for what he is. And as somebody who's studied Mourinho for many years and seen him, I didn't know much about him at Porto, I'll be honest. That was a shock when he knocked us out against for Porto against Old Trafford. But the minute he came to manage Chelsea, I think most of us who were watching football then really got to understand what Mourinho is all about. And he is a stubborn man, and he is a very one-track minded man. And if he believes that Perisic, Morata and Matic are the men, it won't matter what fans think. But I think it's very interesting. I think it's very, very interesting because us as fans, and I suppose the United stand, and you, because you are the lifeblood with the community, this sort of thing probably didn't exist 3 or 4 years ago. And now you've got a big community of fans expressing their opinion on signings. And whether the club are aware of it, whether the club care about it, I don't know. But it's certainly, you've got a responsibility. You've got to, well, I've got a responsibility, and the United Stand's got a responsibility to try and be even-handed. Because you could really sway something. And I don't want to sway it against Mourinho because I think he's the best manager in the world. But he had a fantastic transfer summer last year. This summer is just massive. I don't want to say Perisic, Morata, Matic are his signings because I don't know. I don't know, and I think there's a lot of press out there that doesn't know. But if it was that 3, even I would put my hand up and say, he could have got Aubameyang, he could have got Fabinho, he could have got Rodriguez. These 3 players better work and better make us play good, exciting football. Because that's the other thing as well. The football's got to be good. It can't just be workmanlike at Manchester United. You've got to win, and you've got to win right. And that would be my concern, and that's my concern around somebody like Matic anyway. But very, very interesting, very interesting. And that's what I come back to. The next 3 weeks are absolutely crucial. And I don't think it's just for next season. I think it's the season beyond that. Because last season can be tipped very, very easily by those who are against Mourinho, i.e. the press. Yes, we won the Europa League, but we were 1 kick away from going out. We were 6th in the league, which was where we deserved to be over 38 games, and we won the League Cup. It could be tipped around very quickly to, oh, they got lucky in the Europa League. The reality is this. Steve149 is straight in. I was just about to come to the comments, and Steve149 is first because he's made a contribution. So thank you, Steve, for your super chat. He said, isn't it a bit unfair calling Matic a Chelsea cast-off? He played 30 plus games for Chelsea in the league last season. Congrats on the new arrival, Mark. Thanks, Steve, and thanks for the contribution. All I would say is what I said on Twitter before. If Matic is so good, why do Chelsea want to sign him to sign somebody better? And I will leave it at that. I will leave that there to rest because I know, I love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I love the fact that you're all disagreeing because that is what I started the United Stand about. I wanted it. I go down the pub with my mates. We talk about football and we disagree. We're still mates, but we disagree. And that's what I love about the United Stand. I love the disagreement because it shows that you're passionate and you're opinionated. So if you want Matic, I applaud you. If you don't want Matic, I applaud you. If you're undecided, I applaud you because that is opinion and back your opinion. But what I would say, personally, my opinion is if he's so bloody good, why do Chelsea want to sell him? And why do they want to sign somebody better? And that, I would imagine you could flip that round. Well, I don't know how you can flip that round because my next question would be, why do Manchester United want somebody Chelsea don't want? We should be bigger than Chelsea. And I was talking to Heshem before, who I follow on Twitter, and we get on quite well. And I was saying, I believe that over the last 4 years, some Manchester United fans have forgotten what Manchester United are all about. Manchester United are about being the best in England and always aspiring to be the best in the right way. And I think over the last few years, because we've not been that, maybe the expectations have lowered a little bit. Because I tell you what, under Sir Alex Ferguson, there's no way we'd be signing a Chelsea player they don't want anymore. It just wouldn't happen. And that's where we need to get to. I know we're not there yet, but that's where we need to get to. And it doesn't inspire me at all. But that's what I would say. If Matic is so good, and I've heard people calling Matic a beast, and Matic is a beast, we'd love to buy Matic. Well, that again, I respect that opinion because you obviously believe it. But why if he's a beast? Why if he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, are Chelsea selling him when he's 28 in his prime? It speaks volumes, I think, but there you go. Eric Lord said, when is it that Inter Milan have to pay 13 million to something I don't remember? That's why Perisic's deal is taking so long. 30 million they've got to pay apparently for financial fair play. Inter Milan have got a load of money to spend. They've done sod all in the transfer market. Serie A is making some really good moves. I mean, AC Milan have, Juventus, they've got Douglas Costa, they want Matuidi, they're interested in Fabinho, Darmian, lots and lots going on. Inter Milan haven't made any moves yet because they've got to sort this out at the end of June. Perisic is the next signing for Manchester United, I think. And Manchester United want to pay 25 million, which would be very, very good value. Inter Milan want 45, which would be over the odds. If they meet in the middle at about 35, well, you know what? I've got to be totally honest with you. We've got to be careful now because you know exactly what's going to happen with the Perisic deal. If we spend 35 million on Perisic at 28, Liverpool are going to bury us and say, ha ha ha, you've spent 35 million on a 28-year-old Perisic and we've spent under that on Salah, who's, I think he's younger. I don't know whether he's any better, to be honest, but we will have that levelled at us. Oh, Jaquan, I'm bored of this one. I've got to say I'm bored of it. I can't even respect the opinion on it because I just think it's so inaccurate. So many people are saying to me, well, why did we sign Mata from Chelsea if it's not the same as Matic? When we signed Mata, we were managed by David Moyes and we were in a totally different situation where we were desperate. We were desperate and we needed to sign players from Mourinho's Chelsea because we were on the ropes. Are we on the ropes now? We're in the Champions League. We're the Europa League champions. Do we need to be taking Chelsea's cast-offs? I don't think we do. And also, Mata was Player of the Year every year previous to that at Chelsea, and he was sold because Mourinho couldn't find a position for him in the way he wanted to play. And also, there wasn't many players around at that time in January that we could go and get of the quality of Mata. There are plenty of players out there better than Matic. It's a totally different argument as far as I'm concerned. Anthony Amola has made a contribution. Maybe it's Woodward not doing his job. He could be the problem. You know what? I'm going to defend Woodward. I'm going to defend Mourinho tonight, and I'm going to defend Woodward. I don't think Ed Woodward's done anything wrong. I think he was very inexperienced in the first year with David Moyes. But if you research David Moyes and his time at Everton, and there was an article on about him when he'd left United, he had a room at Everton with loads and loads of pictures on it, and not them sort of pictures. And he's just go and whack one off now. I'm joking. He had a room with all players on there, and it was all. And apparently, he was so studious about a signing. He would agonise and agonise and agonise it for ages before he'd actually go and do it. Now, if you think back to Moyes' one summer that he had, where we ended up with bloody nothing and signing Fellaini at the last minute, who we knew about from Everton. We could have got Thiago Alcantara, who went to Bayern Munich. We were in for him, but we dallied on that one. We spent all summer trying to get Fabregas, which was never realistic. And I think Woodward, knowing the role as he was, probably fell into a trap where he needed to actually pull Moyes into line, but didn't have the experience himself. Every summer after that, Van Gaal got what he wanted. They were just bad buys that Van Gaal wanted. And look at last season under Mourinho, 4 fantastic signings. So I don't, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about Woodward, but I actually don't think he's doing that bad a job. And I do think that the next few weeks are going to be massive. I am for change says Woodward has already missed out on Silva. Amazing potential there. Well, no, that's not that. Come on, let's be fair. He hasn't missed out on Silva. We were never in for Silva. You know, well, I tell you what. I'll be fair to you. Maybe we did miss out on it, but we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, well, how do you know that? I don't think we were in for Silva at all. I really don't. I think we were going for Griezmann, and Griezmann let us down. And that wasn't Woodward's fault either. Moses made a contribution. His Kante is 1 feet shorter than Matic, and he's better in that role. Height is not everything. Very, very good comment. Very, very good comment, Moses, because that was one of the things I said earlier on the Matic video, that Mourinho will want him because he's 6'4". And unfortunately, it's one trait I don't like about Mourinho, and there's many I do, but there are a couple I don't. One was his misuse of Fosu Mensah last season. I thought was appalling. Second is his obsession with height. I don't like it. Manchester United never really bothered with height until Fellaini came along, and then every manager we've had since seems to be obsessed with playing him because he's tall. Matic coming in because he's tall, you know, are we good at corners? Are we good at defending corners? No. Are we good at scoring corners? No. Why do we need somebody tall? I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. And we're not Stoke City. Well, even Stoke don't play that way anymore. Shazwat says, are we going for Dembele? He wants to leave. We also want a striker badly. Also, Matic wants to play for us, which is good. Well, Chelsea want to get rid of Matic. Of course he wants to come to Manchester United. If Matic was sat there, the best... Look, if this was Alexis Sanchez and he was wanting to come to Manchester United, I would get excited because I would look at the situation and go, he's Arsenal's best player. Arsenal don't want to sell him. Up yours, Arsenal. He wants to come to Manchester United. Now, that's a statement. Matic, a player Chelsea doesn't want wanting to come to Manchester United, is not a statement. And of course he wants to come to Manchester United. He knows he's going to get paid a lot of money and he knows Chelsea doesn't want him. There's no glory in signing Matic because he wants to sign for Manchester United. Seen that comment. Let's get some more. Come on, come on. Lewis Clark says Mourinho may want Mbappe ahead of Fabinho. Can I give you my honest opinion on Fabinho? I don't think we're signing him. I'm hoping we're going to sign him. I don't think we're going to sign him. I think it stinks to high heaven the fact that Fabinho is basically flirting with us, saying I would come to Manchester United on Brazilian TV, and I don't think we're in for him. I don't think we're bidding for him. I don't. I think that is basically Fabinho saying I'd love to come to Manchester United, but Manchester United haven't. And it is sad, and I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't get the feeling that we are in for him, which is something we'll be talking about next season if we're battling for 6th place again. But, you know, hopefully that won't happen. K-Boo says Paul Scholes was not tall, but he was the best. Byron Williams says, just trust Mourinho. If he wants Matic to play, he wants to play. I disagree with that, Byron. I've got to be honest with you. I respect the fact that you just want to trust Mourinho on whatever he does. And we do use the hashtag in Jose We Trust because we will back Mourinho. But do I have to just blindly back him, signing a player that I think is slow, tall, and not the way I want United to play? No, of course I get a right. Of course you get a right. There's lots of you who are concerned about it. If your manager tells you to go and do something and you think it might be a bit dodgy, then of course you've got a right in your mind to discuss it with your colleagues and say, I'm not too sure about that. I hope it pans out well. But another reason I'm not confident about Matic is the midfield last season, apart from Pogba, got overrun because we didn't move the ball quick enough and we didn't move the bodies quick enough. And I'm sorry, Fellaini is slower than Matic. I said the other night that Fellaini's quicker. He isn't. He is slower than Matic, but Matic is bloody slow. Which again, we're not going to... What we definitely need, and I can tell you this now, and you all know it as well, because I've heard you all saying, oh, play Fosu Mensah as the CDM because he's quick and tenacious. Kante, Wanyama, Spurs and Chelsea do so well. It's no surprise they came first and second because they've got a midfielder in there who is quick, breaks the ball up and gives it to the attackers. Manchester United are crying out for a centre defensive midfielder who is of that ilk, who is quick, can break the play up and feed the players ahead of them. Fabinho could do that. There's a few others who can do it. Matic can't do it. He can break the play up, but he isn't quick. And he's not tenacious because he's not quick. And that is what we need. And that's what concerns me as well. And as for these people who say, well, maybe we can sign Fabinho and Matic, I don't want that to happen because we've got somebody called Fosu Mensah. So we buy 2 centre defensive midfielders and Fosu Mensah goes to the back of the queue even more. I don't want that to happen. I don't want Matic to sign. I want Fabinho to sign. And I want Fosu Mensah to get a bit of time. But that's what I want. Is there anything wrong with me saying what I want, you saying what you want? That's fan opinion. I won't get what I want. If I had my pick of 5 signings this summer, they're not going to be what Mourinho's going to get, and they're not, and yours aren't going to be either. But that's the importance of us. That's the importance of this channel, isn't it? It's because you get to have your say, I get to have my say. Simon Mellons made a contribution. He says Sir Alex Ferguson was the master at getting 110% out of average players. Is Jose? Fellaini future at centre CDM? No chance. CDM is priority and has been for far too long. I think it's the most important position. I really do. Jay says that Matic is 29 at the beginning of August. If you were going to go for a 29-year-old midfielder, surely it has to be Nainggolan from Roma, of which I can give you an update about Reggie Nainggolan from Roma. only in the last hour from Di Marzio. He was talking about Roma and how they'd sold Salah. Roma have basically said about Nainggolan they're going to start negotiating a new contract with him because there has been no offers. My thoughts on Nainggolan, and you lot got me thinking about this, is apparently, well, he's a smoker, and apparently he said he's never going to quit smoking. Whether he comes to Manchester United or Chelsea, which I don't think he will, if he came to the UK, they would destroy him, because that's the UK press for you. They destroy him for the fact that he smokes. You've seen it with Rooney when he has a drink on a night off or a couple of fags in the summer. He's castigated like he's, you know, some sort of serial killer or something. Nainggolan, can you imagine him coming out of Carrington with a fag on? He's going to get absolutely slaughtered. So I just can't see it happening anyway for that reason. Sullivan says we need to get Jordi Alba if we're deciding to opt for the formation where you have 3 at the back. Nainggolan's going to Juventus, says Javan Williams. Awesome Guy says you sound like a spoilt 13-year-old girl, Mark. Have you got a lot of experiences of 13-year-old girls, Awesome Guy? In all seriousness, though, No, I'm not spoiled. Well, yeah, I suppose I am. I suppose we all are, really, aren't we? I've just got an opinion, and I don't go along with. I tell you what, I do not go along with. I don't go along with just because someone's Manchester United manager or a Manchester United player that I clamp my mouth around their arse and let them just do whatever they want. I think Mourinho's the best manager in the world. I think he's the right man for Manchester United. But I won't just go along with every decision he makes and just sit back and think, yeah, it's going to be right, because there'll be a few that are wrong. And I think when it comes to transfers, you've got to have an opinion, haven't you? I back him 100%. I do think we'll win the league next year, but I do think these next 3 weeks are very, very, very big in relation to his future as Manchester United manager, because I think it's dangerous. And I've not known this for a while, certainly not last summer. I think every signing we made last summer, none of them were generating anywhere near what we've had this summer. So when we got Bailly, he was a surprise signing, and everyone was like, oh, that's exciting. Mkhitaryan, everyone was like, oh, you know, highest assist in Europe, brilliant player, really excited about that. Zlatan was exciting because he's been one of the world's best strikers. And then Pogboom was just like, oh my god, that's amazing. So we were very excited about all 4 of those signings last year. You look at this year, I think Lindelof's quite similar to Bailly. So the first signing, Bailly last year, Lindelof this year, very similar. Bit of an unknown, young. We all want him to do well, we're all going to back him. There has been no other signings, so you've got to take this with a pinch of salt. But Morata, I would say 80% of Manchester United fans want him, 20% are... Well, actually, I'd say 70% of United fans want him. 10% of fans are a bit unsure. 20% want better options out there. Perisic, of which... And I must just say, I'm happy if we sign Morata, by the way. Perisic, who I'm happy if we sign, I would say that's down to 50. I'd say 50% want him. 50% really are either unsure or do not want him passionately. Matic, I've got to be honest with you, I would say 60% don't want him. 30% do, and 10% are in between. And that's 3 signings there that I've spoken about, where there is not a huge swathe of United fans going, yeah, I'm really excited about this deal. There are doubts of differing levels on all of them, and that's pretty unprecedented. I mean, we've not signed any of them yet, but if we did sign those players, that's pretty unprecedented. To not have total excitement or total trust in all those signings is concerning. Now, I think United fans are the best fans in the world. I think the United Stand viewers, having, you know, I know a lot of you are new, but a lot of you will have been with us for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. I read your comments. I think you're all fantastic, and I respect everything that you say. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I would say to a man and a woman, whoever we sign this summer, all of us collectively will back the manager, back those players, and get behind the club, because that's what we do. But we wouldn't be human beings if, come the first game of the season, we got turned over by West Ham at home and we didn't go, I never wanted Perisic anyway. I knew Morata wasn't good enough. Why the bloody hell have we signed Matic? That's human nature. It's not being flippant. It's not being a shallow plastic fan. It's about being honest about what you think about this summer when it happens. And I tell you what, if we did lose the first game against West Ham, no one would say Mourinho out. But if we had signed Matic, Morata and Perisic, I guarantee those people who weren't sure about those signings would be saying, I knew it was a crap summer, this, that and the other. So that's what I'm saying. It's a very interesting summer this summer. And let's not forget, we don't know who's going to be signed yet. We don't know. It's all hypothetical. But it sort of hammers it home how important this next few weeks is for Mourinho and Woodward and Manchester United, because he's got to get it right. When you're making signings that are a bit sort of dividing the fans, you've got to make sure you get it right, because if you don't, they'll turn. David Carey's made a contribution. He says, hi Mark, Fabinho, James and top finisher equals title without no top four and Jose facing the sack. I don't know about the sack. I think Woodward really likes Mourinho. I think Mourinho would probably walk before getting the sack, to be honest. I don't think he wants to get the sack again. But it's interesting. It's what I said at the start, David, isn't it? And thanks for the contribution. It's what I said at the start, that what can't speak can't lie. And the reality is, Fabinho's basically said he wants to join us on telly. Rodriguez has been after a move to United for about 3 months now. And Aubameyang is available. So you sign those three players, and from what I was going back to before about Perisic, Morata and Matic, where there's division, you sign Aubameyang, Rodriguez and Fabinho, and come on, be totally honest, we're all going to be ecstatic like we were last summer. And they are available. And I believe those three are better than the other three. And I believe that they will be successful. And I don't want to be next season when we do have bad results going, why didn't we do that? Another thing I would say as well is I did the video on Renato Sanchez on the Transfer Daily this morning. He is available. And Mourinho really liked him. Mourinho spoke about him glowingly last summer and said if he was the manager of Manchester United when Bayern Munich signed Renato Sanchez, he would have fought for him. And he also said that Manchester United scouted Renato Sanchez a lot in the season before. And they dallied and he went to Bayern Munich. And he said, I scouted him more because I was out of a job. I know everything about him and I really like what I see. He's available. He's available this summer. We could sign, I believe we need two midfielders. We could sign Renato Sanchez and Fabinho for under £60 million. Just about £60 million for Renato Sanchez and Fabinho. And they are perfect for what we need in my mind. Top Geezer has made a contribution. Do we believe Perisic, Matic, Morata are top of the lists of 5 players for each position Mourinho gave to Woodward? I hope there's something more. Good question. Well, that's obviously from something that was in the press this week, that apparently the list that Mourinho gave to Woodward was 25 strong. 5 positions, 5 in each position of choices. Do we believe that Perisic, Matic and Morata are top of those lists? I've got to be honest with you, Top Geezer. Thanks for the contribution, Danny King. I believe Morata is top. I do. I think Morata is his top priority because he gave Morata his debut at Real Madrid. He knows a lot about Morata, and I think Morata is a sleeping giant. I don't think he's in the top 20 strikers in the world at the moment, but if he does what Mourinho believes he can do and plays him week in, week out as a number 9, I think he could be in the top 10 in the world by the end of the season. I really do think that, and I think that's what Mourinho's thinking. I did read a fantastic comment before from an Arsenal fan that said Lacazette's going for 50 million and Morata's going for 70 million. That's just white privilege, man. It's an absolute joke, which made me laugh because I think actually he's spot on. They should both be the same. Why is Lacazette going for 50 million and Morata for 70 million? You could argue that Lacazette's had the better season because Morata's been on the bench. But I actually think Morata can be better than Lacazette. But it looks like we're going to pay over the odds for him, so I would assume that he is Mourinho's priority. Perisic, he seems to have been after him for a long time, so I'd say he's the priority. Matic, if he wants Matic, he's basing it on the fact that he knows him from his time at Chelsea. So he would have to be his priority again because Fabinho's available. So, you know, yeah, these are his priorities, aren't they? Well, we can't dress it up anyway if they are signed. Mad Marcus, do you use Snapchat? Says Richard Gardner. What do you think of Idris Gueye? Says Tej Nalik, who plays for Everton. Not Tej Nalik, Idris Gueye does. I spoke about him about 2 months ago. I do like him. I take him over Matic. You know why I take him over Matic? Because Matic is probably a better player when you can compare the players. but the attributes of Gay are better than Matic, because as I was talking about a few minutes ago, Gay is he's quicker and he's more tenacious, and that is what United need. Doesn't have, you know, Toni Kroos is better than Kante, but I'd take Kante at United because Kante is what United need, and it's not always about signing the better player. It's about what United need, and what we definitely need in that midfield to get the best out of Pogba is somebody who plays in the midfield behind Pogba, who is fast, tenacious, gets the ball and feeds Pogba. There's Kante, there's Wanyama. Them sort of players in the Premier League would be perfect for United. We won't be getting either of those. We should be looking for players who are of that ilk. And unfortunately, whether you like Matic or not, he is not that player because he's not quick. Danny King, thanks for the contribution. Any updates on Perisic, Morata, James? Do we need backup for Antonio Valencia? He's getting old, says Vismad. Mark, why are you so sure we are signing Matic? These are all just paper rumours at the moment. Let's stop panicking and wait till something concrete happens. Too much useless news at the moment. I'm going to applaud that. Spot on, Danny. I've been trying, but obviously it's not been coming across. I've been trying during the conversation tonight to say that this is all hypothetical, and it is all just paper talk at the moment. But we can't just live in a box and wait until the people hold the shirt up. Some fans do that. I find it a bit boring. I'd rather just go live and talk to you all you lot about football. But I think the theme of this show is basically, if we did sign Matic, Morata and Perisic, that is not going to please all United fans. It will please us to differing levels in relation to each individual player. And we know that there are better players available. And if we don't get those better players because he goes for those ones, and then next season is similar to last season, there may be trouble ahead. And that's what the point of the conversation is. I suppose it's a bit of a what if, isn't it? Alexander Hulton says we need to sign a superstar if we want to remain a status club. I would like to see us sign one superstar, but I must also defend Woodward and Mourinho again and say, look, if you work in business or not, Griezmann was so abundantly clear coming to Manchester United from November last year. This was what we were building our whole summer around, and right at the last minute he bottles it for whatever reason and he stays at Atletico Madrid. And whether that's morally right or not, I don't care, because what it did do is it dropped our transfer plans through the ice, and we've now got to try and swim through that cold water and climb out and try and rescue that summer. And he would have been the superstar signing, and he would have been the signing of the summer, and it was taken away from us by that man. And whether he comes next year or not is academic, because he dropped us in it this summer. So whether we will sign a superstar signing or not, I don't know, but I think it's very unfair to sort of criticise us if we don't, because we had one lined up for many, many months. And also, it's not easy when somebody drops you in like that, was it at the end of May, the start of June, to then go and try and sign another one, because you've got everything that would have been working towards that, working with his sponsors, working with the big reveal, the shirts, everything. So it's very difficult. Not impossible, but it's very difficult. Forget about Matic, says Moses. Let's get Lozano for the centre defensive role, and he get in done. Laugh out loud. Well, I don't know what Lozano you're talking about, but Irving Lozano is a winger, and I'm sure he signed for PSV. Shashwat's made a good point. He says, is Valencia the right captain for us? Who is the captain next year? I think there is a sort of low-level panic and sense of sort of the sand going through the egg timer, isn't there? Because time is on our side. We've still got, is it 2 weeks on Monday? They go, 2 weeks on Monday. 2 weeks on Monday, we're back in training. And not long after that, we're on the US tour. So time is still on our side. We've still got 2 weeks, but it's starting to drip through. And if you add into the fact that we need to sign at least 3 more players, we've got players going out the door, a lot needs to happen. But Mourinho is a buy first, sell second manager. So I think the focus will be on signing players before we get rid of players. But yeah, and who will be our captain? Will we give the number 7 shirt up? It was Griezmann's. He's not coming. Will we allocate it, or will we keep it bare for another year? There is literally so much to talk about. Chris Velvick makes a good point. If we didn't talk about speculation, then there'd be nothing to discuss in the closed season. Yeah, look, I know some people don't like it. Personally, I do. We've been doing it for 3 years. I love talking about transfers because I love football, and I like learning and knowing about other players, not only in the Premier League but in Europe, and sometimes even bigger than that. And I enjoy it. I enjoy learning. I enjoy spreading what I know. I enjoy reading about what you think and your opinions, and I do enjoy it. I know people get annoyed. It's definitely peaks and troughs, a bit like United's season last year, really, but it is definitely peaks and troughs because you go up to real big highs thinking you're going to sign. I mean, I look back over the years, Ronaldinho, I thought we were going to sign him and we didn't get him. Schneider, Vidal, you know, Ozil. The lists are endless of players. Berbatov, Batistuta back in the late 90s. You know, these are players that we thought we were going to sign. It's been going on for years, but every now and again you do get them, like your Pogbas and your Berbatovs. So it's like a totally different game between May and August. I remember when we started doing the United Stand and we were speaking to, funny enough, we're speaking to full-time Devils about it when we used to talk, and I was like, oh, you know, that'll be it till August then, and they said, no, you've got to do stuff through the summer. And our first summer, I couldn't believe it. It was like, you know, it's as busy as it is during the season. It's like a different area, and we enjoy it. I enjoy it. Prince Sharma says, on the Matic topic, and he played 30 games last season, Mark. It's like Rooney playing 200 games, but he's still outclassed. Plus, where was he season before last? Good comment, Prince Sharma, and thanks for the contribution. Can you sub and I'll sub, says Rottweiler Rice. Oh, sub for sub, we don't like that. Just remembered, actually, if you're watching on your desktop, I don't know whether you can do it on your phone, but I'm very late to tell you this, but there's a poll. We've got a poll up. Top right-hand corner, there's an eye. Vote who you want, Fabinho or Matic. I'm going to cast my vote now, and let me see. Well, it's saying 100% from Fabinho at the moment. But, yeah, we're going to start doing those because we can have polls up and running, and I meant to tell you about that. Herrera CDM, he has the attributes, can break up play fast, smart, can pass, has a good shot. Is that not what you want? Says Gwums Productions. No, I think Herrera can do a good job as a CDM, but he's not Kante, he's not Wanyama, and I know they are good players, but what I'm saying is Herrera's game is not tenacious, break the ball up, break the play up quick. He can tackle, but he's not a specialist. You need a specialist in that position. And remember when we got Mourinho a year ago almost to the day, he said, I like specialists. We want a centre defensive midfielder who is quick, breaks the ball up, breaks the play up, gets the tackles in. A specialist. That's what we want. They don't need to be able to do 50 keep-ups, run past 5 players and put it in the top corner. They don't have to be 6'5". They've just got to be quick, tenacious, break the play up, feed the better players. That's all they've got to do. And positionally aware. And that's it. Them 4 things, very good at them. That's all we need in that position. And we'll be happy. Naby Keita from Leipzig, RB Leipzig, is a great midfielder who managed to get a team of the season in Bundesliga. He looks promising. I think he'll go to Liverpool. I don't want to upset you all, but I think, Suleiman, I don't want to upset you, but I think Keita's going to go to Liverpool. And who have Liverpool signed this summer? Salah and probably Keita. They'll probably get a couple of others. I mean, that's the problem. We could be, if we did sign Lindelof, which we've got, Morata, Perisic, Matic, those 4 signings could be dynamite. They could be really good. You might look at them and go, oh, but they could work really well in the team. But that's no consolation in July when you're looking at people like Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool and going, their signings are better than ours. That won't wash until next May when we win the title. Henderson, says Mad Marcus, he's having a laugh. Is he having a laugh? Mark, do you think we need a new striker? Hassam says a collab with Full-Time Devils would be good. Hey, we've always said we'd do it. We're happy to do it. The door is always open, mate. Rooney back in form, says Vic. Yeah, and I'm going back to the 80s. I'm going to be 21 again. I wasn't 21 in the 80s. Yeah, Rooney's never going to be back in form. I will eat my shoes if he gets back into form. Where do we vote? Says MKN. It's top right-hand corner of this video. You'll see an eye. You probably need to be on desktop though. I don't know whether it works if you're on Android or... notepad or whatever it is they're called. Yeah, Alexander's got it. He says vote in the top right corner. Click the eye. We need a signing ASAP. John Morris says. Well, I'm gonna massage my ego at the moment because nobody else will. I did say in the match reaction for the Palace game that Josh Harrop won't play for Manchester United again. That's been proved right. And I did say at the start of the week that I didn't think there'd be a signing this week for Manchester United, and I've been proved right. Now and again it happens. I mean, I've got no more knowledge than you. It's a bit guessing really. When do I think Manchester United will make a signing? Well, you've got to look at the players that we're potentially in for. I think it will be Perisic next because that one seems to be about price. And it could be total nonsense. We might not even be in for Perisic. But when you look at what's been going on, I think we are in for Perisic and I think it's about price. So I think my deducement would be that he's the closest to being next. Morata, I don't actually believe that we're now just negotiating on price. I think that has got a hell of a lot more to do with Ronaldo, and Madrid are not selling anyone until that's sorted out. So I don't think that'll happen until July. Matic could happen soon if that's true, because Chelsea want to get rid of him to buy somebody else. So Matic or Perisic, I would imagine, would be one of the next signings. Fabinho isn't close, even if we're in for him, because he's clearly flirting with us, but we've not put an offer to him. And then you're into like what players we don't even know that we're after. So, you know what? I am excited. I'm excited because the unknown can be exciting. It can always also be scary. I wouldn't be excited if I knew for a fact we're just finalising Matic, Perisic and Morata. I'd be like, I've got concerns, to be honest. But the fact that we don't know who we're in for, I think is quite exciting until we know the reality. But as I said, you know, the interesting thing about this summer is last year we were going into the Europa League and we signed 4 brilliant players. This year we're going into the Champions League and we might sign 4 players that fans are quite divided on. And the contrast of that, I never would have said would have happened. I would have said, and my thoughts throughout the whole of last season, if you watched the United stand, was it's really important to get the Champions League so that we can build on what we did last summer and sign top talent like Pogba again. The funny thing is, we've got Champions League. We might not sign a player anywhere near the calibre of Pogba, which I think would be a shame. But I will back the players that Mourinho signs, and I will back Mourinho as I do. But I'll have my concerns if the signings aren't what I believe are good enough. And that sounds really arrogant because who gives a damn what Mark Goldbridge thinks about Manchester United signings? Nobody, because my opinion essentially doesn't matter. However, the big thing is it does matter, because that's what the United stand's about. It's about fan opinion, and it's about your opinion having a platform to speak and having and that platform's getting bigger and bigger. So subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner if you're new, like the video, and allow this community, this brilliant community that we've built up, to grow bigger and bigger, so that our opinions and our debates can become more and more mainstream, because there's some fantastic opinion on there. And as I said before, I loved the video we did at lunchtime about Matic. I loved the fact that some of you were passionately wanting him to sign, even though I don't want him to sign, because that's what it's about. It's about different opinions, and that's what I love about football. I love having debates with people about football. So, you know what? If you like my opinion, great. If you don't, and it generates something in your mind that you're passionate about, that you've typed about, or you're going to comment below about because you're not watching live, great. That's exactly what we want to achieve. We're not a channel that's trying to brainwash you. We're not a channel that's playing for likes. We're not a channel that's like trying to just go along with what other people say through the media. It's an outlet that is really totally and utterly for the fans, by the fans, saying it how it is. That's what we always built it upon. So as long as there's no, I don't want to read abuse. I don't want to see people calling somebody some horrible name because they don't agree with them, because you've lost the argument straight away. Because as soon as I see a comment that's got abuse in it, I don't really read what your point is. I'm just thinking the fact that you felt you needed to be abusive to that person or me really destroys any credible point that you've got in that. But I do read a lot of real good opinion and a lot of real good points out there. Ashwari Kala has made a contribution. He says, I spoke with Real Madrid fans and they'd rather let Benzema go. They don't want to lose Morata. They rate Morata highly. Morata plus Pogba old Juve combo. Very, very, that's a brilliant comment. And I'm sorry that we've read it late, but obviously you've only just made it. But very, very good comment. Real Madrid fans rate Morata a lot, as do Juventus fans. Real Madrid don't want to sell Morata, because I've had people saying to me today, oh, you want Morata, he's a Real Madrid cast-off, but you don't want Matic. World of difference yet again, like Mata. It's Real Madrid don't want to sell Morata. Morata just doesn't want to sit on the bench. The same with Mata. Mourinho didn't want to sell Mata from Chelsea. Mata just didn't want to sit on the bench. And Morata has played with Mourinho because he got his debut, and he spent a season with Pogba, which a lot of people... I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. It's been totally underreported, and it's a very, very good point. Morata's played with Pogba before. They know how to play with each other. I think Morata can be a really, really good signing. Really, really good. And I think we will sign him. But I just think it might take a bit of time. Oh, and I wouldn't want Benzema at Manchester United, by the way. He has turned us down so many times. Where do I think Aubameyang's going, says Akil? I really worry where Aubameyang might go, because what if he went to Liverpool or Arsenal? That would just be horrific. To think that we've not even bothered to bid for him when I think he's the perfect replacement for Zlatan, and then he goes to a rival, would be stunningly disappointing. But again, we just have to trust Jose's got it right, but we'd be right to have our reservations. Which leads me on to something I tweeted out before I went live tonight. You might not find this funny, but it makes me laugh. I'll keep reading all day, because obviously I keep my finger on the pulse with a lot of stuff, as I'm sure most of you do, that Arsenal are very encouraged that they can sign Kylian Mbappe. And now, apparently, Liverpool are joining the battle because they feel they can sign Kylian Mbappe as well. One, he's going to cost £100 million. There's no way in the world those two clubs can afford or would ever do that. And two, Arsenal and Liverpool chasing Kylian Mbappe is like a couple of virgins chasing Rihanna and thinking they can better. It's not going to happen. It can't. I mean, I suppose anything can happen, but that can't happen. And I tell you what, Mourinho, United, Woodward, they all deserve a right good telling off. If they allow Kylian Mbappe to go to Arsenal or Liverpool and we've not bothered, that would, again, be like Aubameyang. Just inexcusable. Inexcusable. But I think it's funny because there's just no way it's going to happen. Thanks for the comment, Sam Ward. Apparently I've hurt Marcus to his very core. I don't even know why. James Carter thinks that Alexis Sanchez could come to United. I don't think it can happen. I'd love it to happen. I just don't think it can happen. To be honest, I'm getting to the point now where I just wish we'd sign James Rodriguez. And maybe, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, or definitely a month ago, I was like, no, I don't want to sign him because I prefer Pereira. But that's when I thought we were going to get Griezmann. I think now, even I'm falling into that sort of the clock's ticking sort of thing. Let's just get a bloody signing done. But I think James Rodriguez could be good for United. I think he could. Chris Ollie, I agree with you. Aubameyang would be perfect for Manchester United. Oh, of course, yes. Craig Thomas says, what's your thoughts on us signing the chief scout from Juventus? This was around lunchtime today. Yeah, so we've acquired Juventus's chief scout. Now, I've always thought that we would get Atletico Madrid's one last summer. I think his name's Batra. But the Juventus one has done very well. He recruited Khedira and Dani Alves, and they've won the title for the last few years. I think it's good. I think it's a real positive because United have been after somebody like that for a long time now, and he's got a great pedigree. And I like the fact that actually he's European and he's got he's from Serie A and he's got a good understanding of Europe, because I think that's where, at the moment, that's where, I said this last night, that's where the talent is. There aren't many British world-class players around. So, and also, Mourinho manages in the Premier League, so he'll have a good idea of who the talent is. We need to know around Europe. So, yeah, I think it's very, very positive, and thanks for reminding me about that. Somebody just asked me to marry me. Unfortunately, I'm already married. Killer Hawk says, I spoke to you the other day on Facebook. Name's Alex Hawkins, and I'm disgusted of what we've become, letting other teams come to Old Trafford and not being scared. Must change now. Hopefully Mourinho can change it. Berta was the name. That reminds me, actually, we are on Facebook. A lot of people might not realise that the United Stand is on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, I think the link is in the video description anyway. But just search the United Stand. Give us a like and a follow on there. There's different content on there. Yeah, give us a follow on that. And as I've been saying, we've got the United Stand t-shirts are available now. Links in the video description, through Amazon. Only available in the UK and the USA at the moment, so we are working on that. If you're interested, just put in the comments where you are from, and if we get enough of these comments, we can go to Amazon and say, look, there's people from this country who want them. Can you sort it out for us? Because they did it for Germany, but I don't think we've got many Germans who watch. But I'm sure we can do it for other countries. So as long as Amazon's in your country, do it. So yeah, link in the video description if you want to get yourself a t-shirt. They're available in kids sizes for Alex, women's sizes for Marcus, and men for me. But we've got 5 different colours as well. So crack on and do that. It'd be great to see people walking around anywhere in the world with the United Stand t-shirt on, but especially Old Trafford. That'd be brilliant. There's a joke there, isn't there? Well, at least there'll be some United Stand representative at a United match, because apparently we don't go to games. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Transfer show tomorrow at the weekend isn't at 7 AM. It'll be when it'll be tomorrow, because I think I'm gonna take the kid out with the wife, gonna get a coffee and stuff. So probably be around 11 AM, maybe midday. There'll be something to talk about tomorrow. Might do it at midday tomorrow. I think that's a good time to do it. Might do it at midday. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is the Q&A. It's across Snapchat, Twitter, and the live comments. So we'll do that. We'll do that Saturday Night Live at 8 o'clock. And obviously any transfer news will be live as well. So lots going on. I'll tell you what, a little bit of a positive for you. We are about 3 weeks away from Manchester United's first game of the season. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Only 3 short weeks until all the fun starts again. Granted, it's pre-season, but not that long. Not that long. Thanks everyone for watching. Really, really great comments tonight. You know, absolute pleasure to spend time with you and do these shows. So if you are new, join the community. It's a fantastic one. Subscribe button is in the bottom right hand corner. It's the hologram. If you're not new or you are new, remember to drop a like on the video. Some really good comments tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy the debate, you know, I really do. Don't worry about if you don't agree with me. We've built the show on that. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got an opinion and it generates conversation in your mind or that you're typing about, then our job's done. That's what the United Stand's about. And also the t-shirts and the link in the video description. If you want to get yourself a United Stand t-shirt, by all means do. I'll see you tomorrow. When will we sign somebody? It could be tomorrow. It could be 2 weeks. But it could be, nobody knows. But one thing is constant and one thing is certain. We will be doing transfer reaction shows at some point in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon tomorrow.